Yeah, we are live now. Ready, start.
Good evening. Welcome to Know and Grow YouTube channel. Today we came with a special program on our platform. It is a tribute to legendary engineer Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, an engineer, entrepreneur, and exemplary personality that Bengal has ever produced. He was born on 23rd June 1984. It's his 168th birth anniversary we are celebrating, and today we present a special program, An Immortal Engineer, the story of Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. So let's introduce our guest speaker today, Shri Pronoy Roy Chowdhury. Shri Pronoy Roy Chowdhury is working as a civil engineer for past 15 years. He is a diploma in civil engineering in 2000 and subsequently completed his BE in civil engineering from Nagpur University and ME in structural engineering from Besur in 2008. At present, he is pursuing PhD in structural engineering at Jadavpur University, Salt Lake, Kolkata. He is a member of the Institution of Engineers India and a chartered engineer. He has few papers in various engineering journals and conferences. His area of interest in earthquake resistance design of structures and heritage civil engineering structure. So let's welcome Sri Pronoy Roy Chowdhury. Welcome, sir, to our Know and Grow YouTube channel and start today's special program on Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee.
Thank you. At the very beginning, I welcome all the audiences of this channel Know and Grow, and I thank the organizers for offering me this opportunity. And today, 23rd June, in the year 1854, Sir R.N. Mukherjee হুম, প্রথম থেকে কিছু শোনা যাচ্ছে? হ্যালো, shall we proceed?
Continue, please.
Next slide, please. And next slide. Okay. So, Bhagavan Chandra Mukherjee was his father, and he was a Mukhtar at the lower Barasat court. So, he had a good practice, and therefore, they had a relatively affluent living. Next slide, please. This is the picture of R.N. Mukherjee at a relatively young age. Please proceed. This was his childhood ancestral home at Bhabla near Bosirhat, where we are talking about. And Rajendranath, he lost his father at a young age of 6, and he studied at first at the village Pathshala under a Guru Mosai. And in those days, in the village, the people had very bad health. They were affected by many diseases like malaria, etc. Rajan used to fall sick very frequently. Therefore, the local village Kobiraj, he insisted that Rajan should go to a place which is relatively dry. So, although his father died, his mother was a very persuasive woman, and she contacted with his maternal uncle who used to live at Agra, and he was a priest at the Kalibadi of Agra, and his name was Darokanath Bhattacharya. And Rajendranath was young Rajan was sent over there to revive his health, and after that he studied over there at the Agra Collegiate School. Rajendranath used to frequent the Taj Mahal, which was located at Agra, and he used to dream that if one day he could really construct something like this. Anyway, he was studying at Agra Collegiate School, and at one point of time, when he was giving his matriculation examination, he received a telegraph from his home that his mother is sick. So he immediately moved to his home. On moving to his home, he learned that mother is hale and hearty, but actually the telegraphic message was sent because they wanted to give Rajan to marriage. In those days, people were married at an early age. After marriage of Sir Rajan, that in those times he was just an ordinary boy who was appearing for the matriculation examination. He was sent to Calcutta to study at London Missionary Society's institution with one of his relatives. After completing his matriculation from London Missionary Society's institution, he joined to study the 3-year course in diploma in civil engineering, that is the licentiate course in civil engineering as it was called at that point of time, at the Presidency College. The Presidency College at that point of time functioned as an adjunct to the Calcutta Civil Engineering College. The Calcutta Civil Engineering College was established in the year 1856 at Writers Buildings, Calcutta. And they took 3 rooms, occupied 3 rooms from the Writers Building, 9, 10, and 11 Tank Square Writers Building, and there they started this 3 years licentiate course in civil engineering. The target was that the people who will study this licentiate course in civil engineering will ultimately join as overseer in Indian PWD. In those days, in 1848, Lord Dalhousie passed a minutes that all engineering works should be done with the help of an engineering department which is called PWD. And there, for recruiting engineers, this facility of training engineers 3 years licentiate course was started. Next slide, please. This is the Kali temple at Agra, and this is the idol of the Kali. Actually, Dwarakanath Bhattacharya, he established this. It is a famous place known as Agra Kalibari Mandir, and it was established about 206 years ago. When Rajan went to Agra, he used to stay with his maternal uncle Dwarakanath, and this is the Kali temple. Next slide. Sir Rajendranath at that point of time used to study at St. John's Collegiate School, or which is attached to the St. John's College, Agra. This college was established around 1850, and the missionaries actually started this college, and it was designed by Major Kito. And in 1857, that is in the year of Sipai Mutiny, on 24th January 1857, we know that Calcutta University was founded by Calcutta University Act, and all these colleges and institutions were affiliated to Calcutta University. Next slide, please. So this is the St. John's Collegiate School, Agra, and next slide. That is the London Missionary Institution, from where he matriculated. So London Missionary Institution, it started in 1838 as a part of the missionary activity, and they constructed a handsome building in 1858, just after the Sepoy Mutiny, and there they had a school and a college for theology classes. So there Rajan completed his matriculation. It was also this is the London Missionary Society School at Bhawanipur. Next. This civil engineering college, a little bit about this. At that point of time, the civil engineering department, it was actually an independent institution, 1856, as I have already told. It was organized in Tank Square writers buildings. Later on, it was shifted to Presidency College in 1868 with 35 regular students. Okay, and it was at this place that Rajan studied the 3-year course in civil engineering, although he could not complete his course because he was very sick. Once again, when he returned to Calcutta, his fever, which has given him lot of pain during his early days, he was affected by fever once again. And so in the final year, he could not complete his diploma, and he became a non-diplomat. This institution was later shifted in 1880 to Shibpur, Howrah. Okay, before that, the facility was occupied by the Bishop's College. We know at present the Bishop's College is near Park Circus, but the first bishop of Calcutta, that is Dr. Middleton, he started the Bishop's College in around 1814. He started the initiative to build a college. In around 1821, the work of Bishop's College was started, and one engineer, Guru Jones, actually his name was William Jones, but local people called him Guru Jones. He was more of a mechanic, less of an engineer. He was involved in developing the college. Later on, the Bishop's College did not flourish, so the campus was left vacant, and it was occupied by the Government Engineering College at Howrah, Shibpur, which is now, which is popularly known as BE College. Later on, it became BESU, and at present, it is IIEST. It is one of the oldest engineering college in Asia. It is the second oldest engineering college in Asia, and before that, there is only one engineering college in this Asia, that was Roorkee, Thomson College, Roorkee, which started functioning in 1847. Next. So this is the Presidency College, and at one point of time. Now, this slide is very interesting. We know about Sir Rajan from the book Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, a personal study written by Kailash Chand Mohindra. Kailash Chand Mohindra, Mahindra and Mahindra, the company which manufactures Jeep and all these vehicles, large trucks, etc. They were built by two brothers, Jagdish Chand Mahindra and Kailash Chand Mahindra. Kailash Chand Mahindra learned business principles from Rajan. He at one point of time, he was a secretary to Rajan in related to business matters. So from there, we know that Rajendranath could not complete his diploma, and then he became a non-diplomat. But later we find that he completed his BE in civil engineering in the year 1883 from the Government Engineering College, Howrah. This is the copy of calendar of Calcutta University 1886. Here you see the name of Rajendranath is clearly mentioned, and the year 1883 Government Engineering College. Next slide. Licentiate, and you see the list of ex-students. There you see in the year 1883 Mukherjee Rajendranath BCE. So this is the ex-students list of Bengal Engineering College of 1883. It is obtained from BE College Centenary volume, and the earlier slide was obtained from Calcutta University. Anyway, the first marriage of Rajan did not mature, and because after 5 years his wife died while delivering the baby, and later on the baby also did not survive. Rajan at that point of time was badly hurt mentally, and he was a non-diplomat person, and he used to at that point of time live at a mess in Calcutta, and he was trying to establish himself. He did not have any job, and he was working at an orphanage of girls, and he used to earn rupees 15 a month. So with that money it was very difficult to support the family. However, later on in his life, at the insistence of his mother, he will marry Jodhumati, who was from a pious Brahmin family. The second wife, she was a model wife, and a source of inspiration to the life of Rajendranath Mookerjee, and she always stood by the side of her husband in all the facets of life. Next slide, please. So this is Lady Jodhumati, as we can see in her later life. But before marriage, there is a story. Now this slide is important. This man, Bradford Leslie, he changed the life of Rajendranath Mukherjee. Now, Rajendranath, while staying in the mess that I have told in Calcutta, he used to roam about Calcutta, and he used to see various construction sites, and he always had in his mind that I would want to be an entrepreneur. I will not work under any person. I will not have any master. I will be the master of my own kind. So while visiting, he at one point of time went to visit Alipur Zoo. At that point of time, the Alipur Zoo was under construction. And the first Jew keeper of Alipur Jew is a famous person, Ram Brahmo Sannal. So this Ram Brahmo Sannal was actually a medical student at the Calcutta Medical College, but he had problems with eyesight. Therefore, his teachers insisted that he cannot continue as a doctor. But there was a good teacher of Ram Brahmo Sannal. He was the superintendent of botanical garden. He was a professor of botany, and George King, he was the botanist. And with the recommendation of this person, Ram Brahmo Sannal was appointed on contractual basis at the Jew garden for looking after the animals and the menagerie. Ram Brahmo Sannal had no experience with Jew, but since he had this experience with medical education, therefore he applied it for the upkeep of the Jew. Ram Brahmo Sannal used to live in the same mess where Rajendranath used to live. So once Rajendranath went to visit Ram Brahmo Sannal at the Alipur Zoo, which was just starting. This person, Bradford Leslie, he was then the chief engineer of Calcutta Municipal Corporation. Earlier, he was the chief engineer of East India Railway, and he was responsible, he was a famous person, he was responsible for construction of the pontoon bridge, that is the floating Howrah bridge between Howrah and Kolkata, which was the predecessor bridge of this present Howrah bridge. Now, Bradford Leslie was at the site, and he was trying to construct a brick arch. Okay, and he was instructing the Hindustani laborers with whatever little Hindi he knew, and whatever and in English, and he was giving a mixed version. But it was becoming very difficult for the Hindustani laborers to follow this. Uh, at that point of time, Rajan was visiting this Alipur Zoo, and he seen the condition when Bradford Leslie was almost sweating, but he cannot explain how to construct this arch bridge to the Hindustani laborers. So Rajan intervened and he said, okay, I will explain. So he started explaining that how to construct, and immediately the laborers, they understood, and the bridge was successfully constructed. Bradford Leslie observed the managerial skill in this person and the understanding of civil engineering that this person has acquired. And then he called this person and asked, who are you? What is your whereabouts? What is your education? Then Rajan said that at present he has no work. He has studied 3 years diploma, but unfortunately he could not complete his course, and because of his sickness. And then Leslie asked that what is your life's dream? Then Leslie said, I want to be a contractor, a builder, and I want to start my own business, engineering business in the field of civil engineering. Then Leslie said, okay, and tomorrow you please come to the site of the waterworks at Polta. You know, Polta waterworks is the oldest waterworks which supply Calcutta, and it is near Barrack. So Bradford Leslie, at that point of time, being the chief engineer of Calcutta Municipal Corporation, started developing the works. Already Polta Water Works was there, but it was required to renovate and enlarge the settling filters, etc. So he called Rajan and told him to be punctual at 10 o'clock and to visit at the site. Rajan was a very punctual individual. He properly dressed himself, and at 10 o'clock he exactly met Mr. Leslie at the site. Leslie was very impressed at the punctuality, at the discipline of the individual, and thought that this person has managerial skills. So Leslie said, I am offering you this work. You have to work as a contractor at this point. So it was a sudden opportunity coming to him. Rajan he did not hesitate, because he knew it is his destiny that he will work as a contractor and later on will develop himself as a businessman. He took the risk. He borrowed a capital of 1000 rupees, a big money at that point of time, for a person having no asset as such. Started his business, and as a contractor, and the name of his company was TC Mukherjee and Company. At that point of time his fate started rolling, and he here we find the contractor Rajan, the businessman Rajan, and slowly he will develop himself. Next slide. So he borrowed this money of 1000 as in 50-50 partnership with from one of his well-known person called Bhutnath Mukherjee. The company was called TC Mukherjee and Company, and slowly he started doing this maintenance work of the Polta water works and execution of the new filter works, and later on he would also lay the 40-inch dia rising men from Polta to Calcutta under the banner of TC Mukherjee and Company. This was also a big challenge which he took. At that point of time the entire business of Calcutta was actually controlled by British engineering firms. So it was very difficult for a Bengali firm by the name TC Mukherjee and Company to get into the business, because at that point of time British thought that all these people are not to be dependent upon. However, with the help of the various engineers present in the corporation, who really believed that Rajan had the strength and the will to complete the work. The work was awarded to him. The laying of pipeline was awarded to him. The pipeline would be supplied by the pipeline materials, that is the pipes, the cast iron pipes will be supplied by the corporation. So that arrangement was made. The story is a long story, but in a small time it is not possible to go into the details. But this 40-inch pipeline was laid in record time of 18 months. This was done with the help of a beautiful technology. He laid railway tracks from Calcutta to Barrackpur, and he carried the pipeline from Calcutta port to the through the railway tracks to Polta, and from there the pipeline was laid, and the work was completed in record time to the satisfaction of the Calcutta Corporation. And slowly the reputation of Rajendranath was growing. and he was becoming a popular person, and he was also developing other competitors in this particular field. With this reputation, his name started spreading, and then later on he would also do the work of Agra also do the work of other waterworks like at Allahabad, etc. And slowly and slowly he achieved his name and reputation. Now we see this famous Tala water tank. The work of this Tala water tank was started in 1909 and completed in 1911. You know, initially there was no elevated water tank to supply water through gravity. In the engineering terms, this Tala water tank is basically an elevated water tank which functions as a balancing reservoir. This balancing reservoir, it controls the pressure of water at the tail end for uniform distribution of water supply throughout the city. In 1901, in the Journal of Institution of Civil Engineers UK, a paper was published by A. Pierce, the assistant engineer of Calcutta Municipal Corporation. The paper was called Calcutta Waterworks. There it was recommended that an elevated water tank should be constructed. Now, as you know, this Tala water tank, this is a huge tank, 321 by 321 square feet, 16 feet depth, and this tank has supplied water to Calcutta for 104 years without any fault. This tank is an excellent example of sustainable construction. It is constructed with anti-corrosive steel, and it is supported on a forest of trestles. Such a heavy tank, how to construct the foundation? The foundation of this water tank was constructed by T.C. Mukherjee and company, and over that the grillage foundation is constructed by the Martin and company, which was later formed by Rajendranath. Next slide, please. So this is the model of this 9 million gallon water tank of Calcutta. It is a huge tank, and the materials for the tank and the construction of the tank was done by Clayton Sons and Company. However, the foundation work and the grillage foundation above it was done by T.C. Mukherjee and Company and later Martin and Company. Next. Here we have the details of Calcutta Waterworks and how it was constructed. We will not get into all these technical details because of shortage of time. Next. Well, the company, this Martin and T.C. Mukherjee and Company was the initial venture, and Martin and Company constructed the grillage foundation, and the land for Tala water tank was the property of Babu Khelat Chandra Ghosh, and we know that the Tala water tank is now at Khelat Babu Lane, and it is a very important structure of Calcutta Waterworks. Next. So these are all details. The tank was, it was the construction work was commissioned in the year 1911, and at that point of time, the Lieutenant Governor of Bengal was Sir Edward Baker. It is standing at a height of 110 feet, and it is 16 feet deep. Next. And this is the person, William Bernard McCabe, who designed this Tala water tank. Okay, he was then the chief engineer of Calcutta Municipal Corporation. Now, this slide, I will just read. This is the specification of the foundation. Think such a heavy tank. What type of foundation? The soil of Calcutta is very bad. How was this work done by T.C. Mukherjee and Company? The site contains several old tanks. They were first dewatered. The water from the tank was removed and then piled with Thalballa pile, 20 to 25 feet long, and then filled with Jhama Khoa, which was well rammed. A retaining wall of piling and concrete is constructed to prevent any lateral displacement of soil. The whole area was then consolidated with steam roller after 9-inch Khoa being laid, consisting of a bed of cement concrete. 2 feet 6 inches in thickness, reinforced near the base by flat steel joist upon which the bases of the main column rest. The water contained in the tank weighs 40,000 tons and the structure about 85,000 tons. So think about how critical the foundation was. In the year 1934, there was a huge earthquake called Bihar Nepal earthquake. Many structures in Calcutta was affected. Even the St. Paul's Cathedral tower was affected. but the Tala water tank had no effect from that severe earthquake. Next, in the year 1892, R.N. Mukherjee and Thomas Aquinas Martin, they came to know each other during the Allahabad Water Works work, and they decided to form a company. Thomas Aquinas Martin offered him that the name of the company will be Martin and Mukherjee, but R.N. Mukherjee knew that there was lot of prejudice against the Indians, so he said, no, the name of the company will be Martin and Company. And they started, initially they started doing water related work, and then later on they shifted to light railways. We know the Martin train or the Martin light railways. Next slide. So this is Thomas Aquinas Martin. He was the senior partner in 1892, and the junior partner was R.N. Mukherjee. And this was the office of Martin and Company at Clive Street. Next. So now this Martin railways, you know that the farmers, they produce their crops at the village. However, if these crops cannot be sold at the city, then the farmers would not get their price. So the village should be properly connected with the city. The railway lines was an important development in the British era. The first railway engineer was George Turnbull. He was constructing the main line of the East India Railways from Howrah all the way to to Benares and so on. But feeder lines required to be connected from rural sector to the city. Therefore, these narrow gauge lines, which are called the Martin Light Railways, it was constructed by Martin and Company. Initially, the work was taken by under the name Wallace Lovett and Company. Later on, the managing agent became Martin and Company, and we see that there are lines from Howrah Maidan to Amta and Siakhala, that is Howrah and Hugli, and there is Barasat Bosirhat line. Then there is a line at Boktiarpur, Bihar, and all these Martin railway we see that it existed even up to 1970s. Later on, it got absorbed in the Indian Railways. Next. You see that this particular train, Howrah Siakala Martin Railway, it was a dream project, and this particular locomotive that you can see, it is called Hanslet locomotive. And many of you have seen a Bengali movie Dhonni Me. There was a song by Manna De, Sob Khelar Sera Bangalir Tumi Football. In that that particular shot was taken in the Martin train. Okay, so next slide. Here we see the layout. See, from Howrah Maidan, the lines went to Borgachia, and that is in Howrah, Borgachia, and from Borgachia via Maju, one line went to Amta, and the another line from Borgachia, it went to Jangipara, Artpur, and Chapadanga in Hugli. Okay, and another line from Howrah Maidan went via Kona to Siakhala. So this was the network of Howrah Amta and Howrah Siakhala light railway lines. Okay, next. Here you see a copy of the Calcutta Gadget of 1895. You see, although the letters are very small, above it is written Howrah Amta Tramway. In this name, this work started. Okay, and this is actually the notification of the local government for allowing this Howrah Amta railway to apply in Howrah. Next. Now, in 1907, the Calcutta Club was founded. This is another story that once Rajan, who was now becoming a popular person, he was invited by the Governor General Sir John Woodburn, that is the Governor General of Bengal, John Woodburn, to be his guest at the Bengal Club. The Bengal Club, which was the oldest club of Calcutta, it was mainly occupied by the British, and the Indians were not allowed in them. So as per norms of the club, the manager of the club built a Samiana and asked Rajan to sit outside and have his food. So it was very depressing for Rajendranath. So immediately Rajendranath, after this incident, he to protest against this discrimination, he decided to form a club. And you know that at Exide, as of present, there is this premier club, the Calcutta Club. It was formed with the help of Rajendranath and Maharaja of Kuch Bihar, Nipendra Narayan Bahadur, and Maharaja of Badwan, Bijoy Chand Mahatab, and even Nizam of Hyderabad. They were also the founding fathers. And the first president of the club was Maharaja of Kuch Bihar, Nipendra Narayan Bahadur, and Rajendranath was one of the joint secretary. Later on, at one point of time, Rajendranath also became one of the president of the club. And Calcutta Club made no distinction between the Indians and the Europeans. So it was a big achievement. Next, this is the Calcutta Club, started in 1907. Next, in 1909, Rajendranath Mookerjee was made the CIE. CIE is a companion of the Order of the Indian Empire. And there is some disturbance in the slide, but he was given this honor because he was at that point of time captain of the industry in Bengal. So next slide. This is the copy of the London Gazette, where you see it is marked with red. Rajendranath Mookerjee Esquire, partner of Messrs. Martin and Company, who will be conferred the companion, that is the CIE, companion of the Indian Empire. It was one of the honor. Next. Now, in the year 1910, Indian Industrial Conference, Sir Rajan was made the president of Indian Industrial Conference. Indian Industrial Conference, that is the sixth Indian Industrial Conference. Indian Industrial Conference was a frontier organization of the Indian National Congress. They were dealing with how to develop industry in India. And so Rajan was invited over the president, and his speech was excellent. This Indian Industrial Conference, one of the primary individual who was responsible for organizing this conference was the famous Madan Mohan Malviya, who was himself at one point of time president of Indian National Congress and was the founder of Banaras Hindu University. Next. So at the important speech, portions of important speech, the prosperity of the country should be our first thought. And I venture to think that the gratification of our political aspirations is of little avail if this is lost sight. The president, as a president of Indian Industrial Conference, Mukherjee said, Rajendranath Mookerjee said, the prosperity of the country should be our first thought. So he was always, although he was a businessman, he was an, as we will see later, he's actually an industrialist. His main thought was the prosperity of the country, not his personal gratification or personal achievement. Many people nowadays lose sight of that, and they are interested in their personal aspirations only. Mr. Mukherjee exhorted the possessors of wealth to part with a little as a fractional part to make India industrial equal to other country. So that Make in India slogan is an old slogan. He said, you have lot of money, so you please part a fraction of your money and encourage so that industry can be developed in India. Presidential address of Mr. R.N. Mukherjee CIE was full of sound and practical advice. So he was a practical person, and he was a practical businessman, he's a practical industrialist. And he was a practical thinking person. So his presidential speech was very much appreciated. Next. You see, in 1911, Sir Rajendranath was made the Sheriff of Calcutta. Here you see that a Supreme Court existed in Calcutta before the Calcutta High Court. Calcutta High Court came into existence in 1868. Before that, during the company rule, there was a Supreme Court in Calcutta. And in the latest patent, the patent which established this Supreme Court, there the office of the Sheriff of Calcutta was given. For the town of Calcutta, a office of Sheriff should be created. And at one point of time, Sir Rajendranath became the Sheriff of Calcutta. Next. So in 1911, Rajendranath Mookerjee became the Sheriff of Calcutta, and subsequently he received the knighthood called KCIE, that is Knight Companion of the Indian Empire. Next. See, this is one of the address signed by R.N. Mukherjee, Sheriff Office, 18 January 1911. This is from the Calcutta Gadget, signed by R.N. Mukherjee, both in English and Bengali. Next. Actually, in 1911, the Darbar was held at Delhi, and the Sheriff of Calcutta went to Delhi, and there he was awarded the knighthood. Next. You see, this is the coronation darbar, and Sir R.N. Mukherjee went over there. The name I have marked with red, Sheriff of Calcutta. This is the people who and who's who. A book was published, and there with the photo of Sir R.N. Mukherjee, and his details were given. Next. So he received the title of Knight Companion of the Indian Empire, and this is the copy of the Gadget. So Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee Esquire, CIE, Sheriff of Calcutta. So he is given this honor of KCIE. Next. So this was the photo of Sir R.N. Mukherjee as a Sheriff of Calcutta. See, Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, KCIE, Sheriff, 1911. Next. And now you know that Martin and Company not only they constructed railways, but they constructed many beautiful buildings across the city of Calcutta. In fact, decorating the city of Calcutta was a great effort of the Martin and Company. Next, you see the Tipu Sultan Mosque. Next. And you see the Standard Chartered building, which was constructed in the year 1908. And you see the building was designed by the architect Edward Thornton. This Edward Thornton is a famous architect who passed away in 1916. He used to work with Martin and Company, and he was responsible construction of many buildings across the beautiful buildings across Calcutta. This building you see white and red color, Porbandar stone was used for the construction. The building was constructed in 1908 and the cost was 9,62,000. Next. And you see this Esplanade Mansion, this famous building beside the Governor House. 1910 it was constructed. Next slide. It was built by Martin and Company, and it was again designed by Edward Thornton, and it was funded by Mr. Elias David Ezra, who was a famous Jewish business magnate in whose name is the Ezra Street. This is the first multi-storied flat building. This is Ezra, multi-storied flat building containing 24 flats. Next. Now see, this is the Calcutta Improvement Act in 1911. Here we see that, that the Board of Trustees of the Calcutta Improvement Trust, Sir R.N. Mukherjee was the Board of Trustee of Calcutta Improvement Trust, and he was appointed by the local government by notification. So Sir R.N. Mukherjee was appointed in various committees because the British believed that he was a person of great capability and capacity, and he has lot of administrative ability. Next. You see, Oriental Seminary School where Rabindranath Tagore was Rabindranath Tagore studied, and many other famous people studied. It was constructed by Martin and Company. This new building, it was built by Gaur Mohan Addi. It was the first private English medium school. Next. Now you see this Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. When Swami Vivekananda in 1893 went to Chicago in the same ship, Jamshedji Tata was also traveling. So they happened to alight the ship at Japan, and they went to a matchmaking factory, and they saw how effectively engineering was applied for making matches. So Swamiji said, when my country will become so much developed, and he then requested Jamshedji to develop an institute. Later on, afterwards, when in 1898, when Swamiji came back to India, Jamshedji took the initiative and gave 30 lakhs of rupees, and with the help of Sister Nivedita, finally the institute was constructed. That you see the Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. It is one of the topmost institute. Next. You see that this is the calendar of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, and Sir R.N. Mukherjee was one of the member of the Senate of the Indian Institute of Science. He was nominated by His Excellency the Viceroy of India as one of the members. So how famous Sir R.N. Mukherjee was, that even in the court of Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore, one of the most premier institute of India nowadays, he was member of the Senate since the very beginning. Next. This is the Indian Diary. It is a book written by, it was a book which was later on published by the wife of Edwin Montague. You know the Montague-Chelmsford reforms. Edwin Montague, he visited India and he went to all the important cities and met important people. And he met Rajendranath. and he wrote about Rajendranath in his daily diary, which was later on published in the form of an Indian diary. Next slide, please. Okay, so I have given those pages. In the year 1919, Sir Rajendranath was declared honorary fellow of the Institution of Mechanical Engineers. This is a very reputed institute of the UK. Next, this is the proceeding where Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee has become the honorary life member. Next, so these are the minutes where it was confirmed that he will, Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee was here. So this is an important slide. Here you see that Rajendranath Mookerjee has taken a very important aspect of technical education, and he has contributed in that field. You know, the Indian Apprentice Act. Nowadays, big industries, they take apprentice and they give training, a hands-on training for development of engineering skill of a person. This was first suggested by Rajendranath. So His Excellency Lord Ronald said during his speech at the Bengal Legislative Council said, "We have accepted the recommendations of the committee which sat recently under the presidency of Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. The report of the committee will be placed before you. It is most important recommendation from the point of view of the matter and consideration that how this apprentice training will be done." Next. You know, this Bengal Iron and Steel Company, which is now ISCO, Indian Iron and Steel Company, it was initially founded at Kulti, Asansol, and by Fairhurst, and later on it was taken over by Rajendranath Mookerjee and Sir Thomas Aquinas Martin, and later on they developed this organization into a big steel manufacturing company, which was also later on far more developed by Sir Biren, one of the sons of Rajendranath. Next. So these are the details of that. So please keep. Next. One of the most important construction of the life of Rajendranath Mookerjee is the Victoria Memorial. It is a monument built in the Indo-Saracenic School of Architecture. Next. See, in the year 1901, after the death of Queen Victoria, Lord Curzon, who was then the Viceroy of India, put before the people of the city that a memorial should be constructed. And the work of the memorial started in the year 1906. Next. See, this is 5th January 1906, a copy of the newspaper Englishman. On 4th January 1906, the foundation stone of Victoria Memorial was laid. Next slide, please. You see, here it is written, the portion that I have made it, highlighted. There, the contribution of Sir. Here, Mr. Sevenoaks and a couple of assistants were in the waiting, and a flourish of trumpets had been sounded. With the beautiful silver and enamel trowel provided by Messrs. Martin and Company from design of E. Thornton, His Royal Highness smoothed down the cement, making a number of inquiries regarding the operation. So this is the description of the laying of the foundation stone. A trowel was made, and the handle of the trowel was fitted with precious stones. And R.N. Mukherjee, he handed over the trowel to the Prince of Wales, who laid the foundation stone. Next. Look, this is the foundation stone laying ceremony. The Prince of Wales is standing, and you can see the trowel, which is how the laying of the foundation stone has been done. Next. You see, these are the details of the Victoria Memorial. It is Indo-Saracenic revivalistic style. The building is 338 feet by 228 feet and rises to a height of 184 feet. And it is constructed of white Makrana marble. The Makrana marble has been brought from Jodhpur quarries, the same marble which was used for the construction of Victoria Memorial. And the garden was developed by David Prane and Lord Railsdale. And William Emerson was the architect of this construction, and he was helped by Superintendent Architect Vincent Each, and it was constructed by Martin and Company. Next. So this is William Emerson, the designer of Victoria Memorial, the famous architect. And initially he had Mr. R.L. Sevenoaks as his assistant. You see the Clerk of Works Victoria Memorial, published in Indian Engineering 1903. Next. This is Vincent Teach, who was later on the superintendent architect who would help William Emerson in this work. Next. And of course, this is Rai Bahadur Onukul Chandra Mitro, who was the resident engineer on behalf of Martin and Company, who was engineer in charge at the site of Victoria Memorial on behalf of Martin and Company. He was passed out of Bengal Engineering College 1901. Next. You see, this is the plan of Victoria Memorial Hall. Next. You see, these are the wooden models of Victoria Memorial Hall prepared by William Emerson. One is the front view and one is the side view. Next. This is the top view. Next. The construction work started, the work started in 1906, but there was some foundation problem, and the foundation problem was solved by Rajendranath by his ingenious ideas, and then slowly and slowly the work was later started. It took 14 years to complete the work, and the Victoria Memorial was opened in 1920. You can, this is the 5 cranes which are used for construction. Next. This is the Victoria Memorial under construction, and construction is under progress, and this is the opening ceremony, you see. And you see Lord Ronaldsay, who was then the Lieutenant Governor of Bengal, he is sitting, and the prince is sitting, and Lord Ronaldsay is standing, and this is the opening ceremony which is going on. Okay, next. You see, this is the Victoria Memorial during the day, and next. Victoria Memorial early hours. You see the difference in the color of the stone, Makrana marble. Next. This is the statue of Queen Victoria at the Central Hall. Next. Statue of Lord Curzon, whose brainchild was Victoria Memorial. Next. And next. You see, just the previous slide. You see, it is written, Messrs. Martin and Company, the contractor, and their distinguished head, Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, KCIE, we must pay a tribute of admiration and gratitude for the manner in which they have carried through the tremendous task which has devolved upon them in giving material shape to Sir William Emerson's brilliant design. So, when the king had come, the Prince of Wales has come for opening the inauguration of this thing. So Sir Rajan was very much praised by the authorities. Next. Sir Rajendranath was given the highest knighthood, Knight Commander of the Victorian Order. This is the copy of the Gazette, 1922. Next. This is the copy of the Calcutta Gadget. Previous slide. Copy of the Calcutta Gadget, 1922, where it is given Rajendranath Mookerjee, KCIE, Martin and Company will be Knight Commander, and Vincent Each will be Commander of Victorian Order. Next. So that he has received KCVO. Next slide. See, these are the star and badge of the KCVO. Next. These are the decorations. You see, this is the Gokul Memorial School. After the death of Gopal Krishna Gokhale, Mrs. Sarola Roy, who was the wife of Dr. P.K. Rai, the first Bengali principal of Presidency College, Sarola Roy was a close associate of Gopal Krishna Gokhale. She said that something should be done as a tribute as a memorial to Gokhale. And so he went to Sir R.N. Mukherjee and consulted, and ultimately the Gokul Memorial School was built. The plan and the design of Gokul Memorial School has been done by Martin and Company under the instruction of R.N. Mukherjee, and they took no payment. Next. This is the now R.N. Mukherjee has participated in various committees. This is Bengal Retrenchment Committee. So he was made the president in the year 1922. This committee was made for reducing the expenditure of the local government. Next. This is the report of the Bengal Retrenchment Committee. Because of shortage of time, we cannot go to the details, but it is over here. Next, this is the Indian Retrenchment Committee. This is popularly called Inchcave Retrenchment Committee. It was formed in 22-23. It was formed to reduce the expenditure on various heads of the Indian government. Next. And this is a very important minutes of the this is called the Acworth Railway Committee. It was formed under William Acworth, and Sir R.N. Mukherjee was one of the respected members of the committee. This was the committee who recommended that there should be a separate budget for the railways. And we see even after independence there was two budget of one is the general budget and the railway budget. Until recently the separate budget for the railways has been discontinued, but this was the committee where R.N. Mukherjee and others, they recommended that a separate budget should be made, because railway is a very big organization. So this is a very big contribution. Next. These are the reports. Please skip. Next. Now this is the Hong Kong Shanghai Banking Corporation head office near Laldighi. This was also constructed by Martin and Company in the Edwardian style. Next. These are the details. It took 12 lakh rupees. In 1924, Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, who was 5 times Vice Chancellor of Calcutta University, passed away. Sir Ashutosh and R.N. Mukherjee were great friends. R.N. Mukherjee was a fellow of Calcutta University since 1909 until his death in 1936. So Sir R.N. Mukherjee wrote a memoir for Ashutosh Mukherjee. Next slide. Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee. It was published in Calcutta Review of the Calcutta University in July 1924. I have given over here if time is available, please go through it. It clearly indicates what great admiration R.N. Mukherjee had for Ashutosh Mukherjee and how closely they were associated. Next. Sir R.N. Mukherjee was the president of Asiatic Society of Calcutta in the year 1925, and this was the annual address of Sir R.N. Mukherjee. I have given it over here if someone is interested. Next. And this was the Royal Commission of Indian Currency and Finance. This is a very important committee where Sir R.N. Mukherjee was the chairman, and this committee recommended. Next slide. Since it is a very old type, you cannot clearly see. I'm just reading one line. The necessity of unity of policy in the control of currency and credit. A central banking system is required. The central banking system should be entrusted to a new organization referred to as Reserve Bank. So this is the commission in which the concept of formation of a reserve bank is embodied. Next. Now, Sir R.N. Mukherjee had a great association with Bengal Engineering College. In the year 1919, he was a member of the body of the Bengal Engineering College, and there was very little facility for the mechanical engineers to take practical training. So he organized a practical training of the mechanical engineers at Kachrapara Railway Workshop. Okay, so here Sir Francis Stanley Jackson, the then governor of Bengal, he indicates that what effort was taken by Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee in developing this technical school at Kachrapara railways, so that apprentice can get training in mechanical engineering. Next. The Assembly House of Bengal was constructed in 1930. In 1929, the work started, and Martin Company was responsible for construction. And Sir Francis Stanley Jackson praised R.N. Mukherjee for the efforts. Next slide. So these are the details. In 1928, a foundation stone was laid, and it is like an alphabet. The chief architect was J. Greaves, and Martin and Company was responsible for the construction. Next. So I have given a portion of the speech that how Sir Stanley Jackson praised R.N. Mukherjee for his great work. Next. So here you see, just previous slide, I'll just read 3 lines. I have reasons to know that the foundation of this new building, that is the assembly building, are being doubly assured, and I feel satisfied that the reputation of the firm of Messrs. Martin and Company, with which my friend Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee is the head, is such as to give complete confidence that the work will be carried through in all respect in the best possible manner. So Rajendranath Mookerjee means integrity. Rajendranath Mookerjee means satisfaction. Rajendranath Mookerjee means a person of honor. Rajendranath Mookerjee means a successful and great engineer and a great personality. That was, reflected in several occasions by the British, who considered Indians as good for nothing. So this was a great achievement. Next. Now, in 1921, Mukherjee committee was formed. It was actually a technical expert committee to, the existing Howrah Bridge, which was a floating bridge. It was becoming very old and it was becoming inadequate for traffic movement between Howrah and Kolkata. So it was required to construct a new bridge. So the new committee, that is the Mukherjee committee, which is popularly called, it ultimately came to the decision that a cantilever bridge shall be constructed between Howrah and Kolkata. And Sir R.N. Mukherjee was the president of the technical committee, and the present Howrah bridge that we see is a suspended balance cantilever bridge, and there is no scope of going to the details about it, but this was the diagram which was proposed by the technical committee under R.N. Mukherjee, and almost in that line the Howrah bridge, the present Howrah bridge, is constructed. Next slide. So this is the details of the Mukherjee committee report. Next. And you see, these are the copies obtained from Calcutta Gadget, the recommendations of the Howrah Bridge Committee 1922. Next. Sir R.N. Mukherjee was the president of the 8th session of Indian Science Congress. Indian Science Congress started in the year 1914 by the efforts of Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee with 93 engineers, 93 scientists. I'm sorry. So R.N. Mukherjee was the president of Indian Science Congress, and his speech was on the subject on science and industry. Next. So science he referred to be organized knowledge, and he appealed for bridging the gap between laboratory and the shop. Next. So this is the copy of the presidential address of Indian Science Congress. Next. Okay, so the deliberation of Sir Francis Stanley Jackson, Governor of Bengal, at the Indian Science Congress, I'll just mention one line. On the two previous occasions, I presided in 1914 by Sir Ashutosh Mukherjee, one of the most eminent educationists that India has produced, and 1921 by Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, who has gained his sterling qualities a position not only of one of the most prominent citizen of the city, but has also made a name which is held in highest respect throughout British India and indeed the empire. So look at the respect which this person commanded. After the Second World War, the government decided to organize the Indian Industrial Commission. This commission was responsible to travel throughout India and to find out the possibility of industry which can be built for developing the future of industrial India. Next. These are the members, and one of the important member was Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, and he had a very effective contribution in this field. Next. Here we have the details. Okay, but one of the important recommendation of the committee was that to form such learned societies like those which exist in Great Britain, like Institution of Civil Engineers, the Chemical Society, the British Association for Advancement of Science, in India, which will also deal with this requirement of engineers for better Indian industries. So in that line, later on, a organization called the Institution of Engineers were formed, whose first president, inaugural president, was Sir R.N. Mukherjee. Next. Please skip these slides. These are all details. So this the formal inauguration of the Institution of Engineers, which was started in actually in Madras, but formally on 23rd February 1921. The organization has already completed 100 years of its journey. Next. And this was the copy of the first annual general meeting. Next. This was, you see, in the first row, on second right is Sir R.N. Mukherjee sitting. This was the picture of the first council of the Institution of Engineers. It was held at Asiatic Society. What was the target of the institution? That has been embodied in the speech of Sir R.N. Mukherjee. Next, and please next. See, this is the first minutes of the Institution of Engineers, which I have produced over here, where we have the signature of R.N. Mukherjee. Next. So R.N. Mukherjee was the was the member of the governing body of Bengal Engineering College, 1919 to 1921. Next, he was responsible for the development, all-round development of the Bengal Engineering College. Next. See, this is the 1921 governing body. Here we see that Honorable Sir R.N. Mukherjee of Martin and Company is one of the member. Okay, please proceed. This is the turret clock of the Bengal Engineering College. It was gifted by Sir R.N. Mukherjee to the Shivpur campus of the Bengal Engineering College, at present IIEST. And Sir R.N. Mukherjee, as I have already told, has a long association with the Calcutta University. In 1909, he was first elected as a fellow of the Calcutta University. And here we see Mr. R.N. Mukherjee, CIE. He is a member of the syndicate and of the Senate. Next. And he was member of the Faculty of Engineering, R.N. Mukherjee Esquire, CIE. This we can see 30th June 1909 from the minutes of the Senate of Calcutta University. In 1931, Sir R.N. Mukherjee, KCIE, KCVO, he was the Dean of Engineering Faculty of Calcutta University. He had a more than 20 years of association. In 1931, Sir R.N. Mukherjee received Honorary Doctor of Science from University of Calcutta. Next. This is the speech of the Chancellor of Calcutta University, 1931, where the doctorate was conferred. Sir Francis Stanley Jackson, he says, the decision to confer honorary degree upon Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, Dr. Herembo Chandra Moitra, and Dr. Bentley will, I feel sure, be received with general satisfaction and pleasure. It is my privilege to be personally acquainted with all of them, and I feel that it would have been difficult to find any in our midst whose record of service in this particular sphere could be recorded as more deserving of the honors. So they said that R.N. Mukherjee, the honorary doctorate of the DSc in engineering, was a really deserving honor. Next. This is the minutes of the syndicate where Sir R.N. Mukherjee has been declared to be given the honorary degree of Doctor of Science in Engineering. I have just given it as a record. Now, you know this Belur Math temple. In the year 1932, the work of construction of Belur Math temple was started after the two American disciples of Swamiji made a considerable amount of donation for construction of this temple. Vigyanananda, who was then the President Maharaj, he approached Swamiji. He approached Sir Rajendranath, Martin and Company should construct this temple. So Martin and Company has done this construction, excellent construction, where the philosophy of Sir Ramakrishna and the thoughts of Swami Vivekananda, that is the basic philosophy, that is Jato Mat Tato Path. There are so various paths to reach the same Almighty. So the various religions are represented over here. It has the Hindu influence, it has the Islamic influence, it has the construction in the form of a Christian church, and it has the Buddhist influence. So it is an excellent construction, a sturdy construction, and it was done. The last important work of Sir R.N. Mukherjee, it started in 1932, and when it was completed and consecrated by Vigyanananda 1938, then R.N. Mukherjee has already passed away. Next. So how it was done, all these details are given. Please, those who are interested may go through it. This is the model. You see, this is the model of the Ramakrishna temple, which was prepared before the temple was actually constructed. I have obtained this from Prabuddha Bharat magazine of 1938. Next. This is Swami Vigyanananda. He was himself a civil engineer, and at one point of time he worked as a district engineer, and in later on he went to monastic life when Swami Vivekananda instructed him how to construct this temple for the great master, that is Sri Ramakrishna. Next, well, these are the details of the temple. Next, and you see the new temple of Sri Ramakrishna at Belur Mott. This is a page from the Prabuddha Bharat magazine 1938, where the details of the uh, program, how it was constructed, what are the details, what are the features, everything is given over here. And there is a beautiful presentation, Symphony in Architecture, the Ramakrishna Temple by Swami Tattva Gyanananda Maharaj, who was the principal Maharaj of Belur Polytechnic, that is our Shilpa Mandira. However, he has passed away. He was himself an architect and he has written an excellent commentary on the temple, and it is available in the website of Ramakrishna Mission. Next, you see these are the news and reports which I have collected for reference. Next, you see this is the 10th general report of Ramakrishna Mission, and where the temple has been described in the most effective manner. The magnificent stone temple of Sri Ramakrishna with Nath Mandir, built mostly with American help, was formally dedicated to Swami Vijnanananda in January 1938. Although completion of the edifice took some months more, in point of beauty and grandeur as well as strength, it may be considered the most remarkable temple of its kind in northern India. The actual cost of the temple and its allied construction has exceeded the estimated cost of 7 lakhs by another lakh. That means 8 lakh of rupees was spent. So they say that it is beauty and grandeur and strength. It is one of the most beautiful temple of northern India at that point of time. Next, these are the achievements of Sir R.N. Mukherjee, which has been given in a tabular form for those who want to study the life of Sir Rajan in details. Next, when Sir Rajan was 80 years of age, he was given a standing ovation at the Calcutta Town Hall by the Calcutta Corporation, where Sir Rajan has started his contractor, his life as a contractor from the Polta Water Works under Calcutta Municipal Corporation. So that organization where he started his career offered him this, you know, highest honor, civic honor. So this is a copy of that. Next, Sir R.N. Mukherjee, at his old age, he used to write KCIE, KCVO, that is Knight Companion of Indian Empire, Knight Commander of Victorian Order, Member Institution of Mechanical Engineers, Member Institution of Engineers India, DSc Engineering, and Fellow Asiatic Society of Bengal, FASB. Next, so Sir R.N. Mukherjee passed away on 15th May 1936 at a ripe age of 82 from bronchopneumonia. And this is the cutting of the newspaper Pioneer. Next, here you see the funeral procession of Sir Rajan, and it has been taken from another popular newspaper, Statesman, and the people are going to Tala burning ghat following the buyer. About a 1 kilometer procession was held. Next, and Amrita Bajar Patrika, 17 May 1936, imposing funeral and mournful journey of the processionist, late Sir R.N. Mukherjee. Next, R.N. Mukherjee was cremated at Kauratala burning ghat, and just beside that there is a Kalighat Memorial. Kalighat Memorial was constructed by Martin and Company in the honor of Chama Rajendra Woodiyar, who was the king of Mysore, who passed away at the age of 32, young age of 32, and in his memorial, that Mysore Memorial was constructed by Martin and Company. Just beside that, Kauratala burning ghat, you see that this is the memorial of Rajendranath. Next, in 1936, the Calcutta University took a resolution of condolence after the death of R.N. Mukherjee. The then Vice Chancellor was Sir Sama Prasad Mukherjee, and to great surprise, both Sir R.N. Mukherjee and Sir Sama Prasad Mukherjee was born on 23rd June, today. Next. So this is the copy of the resolution. The death of Sir R.N. Mukherjee has removed amidst one of our greatest Indians of our time. So next, you see, the oldest Indian journal is the Indian Concrete Journal. So this is the obituary of Sir R.N. Mukherjee, which was published in the Indian Concrete Journal. With this picture, the late Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. I have given it because it has a deep significance as an engineer, because Indian Concrete Journal is the oldest engineering journal. Next. Then Indian Chamber of Commerce, since he was a big business man and industrialist, the Indian Chamber of Commerce has taken condolence. It is taken from the annual report of Indian Chamber of Commerce 1936. Next, you see the Institution of Engineers, whose first president was Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. They have published this obituary in 10th June 1936 on Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. I have given that copy over there for reference, and those people who are really interested in researching on Sir Rajen. Next, and this is the family of Sir Rajan. He believed in a joint family. In the middle, you can see Rajan and Lady Jodhumati sitting, and all the other family members. He was a very good family man and gave lot of time to the family, as well as to his business, as well as to his social obligations. Next, and Amrita Bajar Patrika, where late Sir R.N. Mukherjee tribute has been given. And next, you see, this is the statue of Sir R.N. Mukherjee. It is a 6 feet marble statue in the eastern side of Victoria Memorial. It was actually located at Dalhousie Square, and the road R.N. Mukherjee Road, Mission Row, has been a part of Mission Row has been renamed as R.N. Mukherjee Road, and the statue was there. And the statue was built by Sri Gopeshwar Pal of Kumartuli. He was a famous sculptor, and he was also this is his photo. He was also responsible for construction of the statue of Sri Ramakrishna, which is located at Sri Ramakrishna Temple, Belur. Next, and I would just want to read a little bit of this. That is, while unveiling the statue of Sir Rajendranath Mukherjee on 1st February 1938, you know, Lord Brabourne, in whose name Brabourne Road. So he gave this speech on Sir Rajan. Okay, and the career of Sir Rajendra is an example to those who, fresh from their education and unused to the realities of things, are tempted to complain that their opportunities are not enough, and that some inadequacy of their training has imposed too severe a handicap of their chances in life. Himself would have been, I think, the last person to have made any such complaint, and the way in which he worked up from the humblest beginning by sheer force of character and personality should form a source of encouragement to those quick despairers of adolescence. The first position in his life from which he received any form of income was that the post of a school teacher in girls' orphanage, where he was paid some 15 rupees a month. See, from the very humble beginning of rupees 15 a month, here we see that Sir Rajendra has created an industrial empire and a existence of his own in the society, both in the social sphere and also in the sphere of everyday life. It was Rajendranath Mukherjee who was ready and on the spot, and whose work was known to be trustworthy. So this is the very important character of Sir Rajan, trustworthiness. And his people can depend on him. People could rely on him. Even the British, who considered Indians as foolish individuals, they relied on that individual and honored him. And a governor erecting a statue of an Indian after the death and honoring him, this is really an achievement. Anyway, so next slide. So this is the Martin Burn House at Mission Row that you can see even today near Lal Bazar. Next. The Amrita Bazar Patrika, this is the news that a part of Mission Row will be named by Sir R.N. Mukherjee Road. One person who requested to the editor, and later on the same has happened. Next, and this is the Mission Row named as R.N. Mukherjee Road. Next, so this is the tribute of Sir Visvesvaraya, the fatherly figure of Indian engineering, to Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. He, in his speech in 1939 at Bombay State Center of Institution of Engineers, he said, "It is not every engineer can write a book. Indian engineers have no practice in to work in collaboration. Many eminent English engineers have developed productive and other public works by their ability. Among Indians, we have some outstanding engineers like the late Sir Lala Gangaram, Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, and others." So, the fatherly figure of Indian engineering, Sir Visvesvaraya, even considered Sir Rajendranath as a great engineer. So, this is a great tribute. The great knows the great. Anyway, the institution of engineers have taken several initiatives. They have instituted prize in the name of Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee. Next, and the R.N. Mukherjee Hall. It is a building of the Institution of Engineers. It is an auditorium, and there is also a library. Next, this R.N. Mukherjee Library. There are about 40,000 technical books, periodicals, reports, and it is an unique library meant only for engineering in the city. There are many other libraries, many big libraries, including the National Library, but they have various type of books. But this library is specifically dedicated to engineering. Next, so of course, that there we come to the final slide where we pay our tribute to this great personality on his 168th birthday, and we remember him as a great man who has lived and who has touched every sphere of the life of the Bengali and that of the resident of Calcutta. I thank you all giving a patient hearing, and I thank the organizers also for giving me this opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Pronoy Chowdhury. So we have, I think this is one of the finest tribute that we can pay to this legendary engineer and entrepreneur, Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee, who has started from a humble beginning as a contractor, and later on he he has made or developed himself as a successful industrialist. So there is a difference between a businessman and industrialist. Industrialist is a greater connotation which has who has a empathy or passionate towards social work. So we pay a huge tribute to this gentleman who has not only constructed many huge buildings in Calcutta around the city, and not only he has given a shape to modern Indian industry, and also a social worker. And at the end of the program, uh, I pay my sincere thanks to all the viewers who has present in the channel and patiently hearing in this lecture. And I also thank Pronoy Roy Chowdhury, who is a civil engineer and a researcher who has nicely deliberated the entire life story of Sir Rajendranath Mookerjee in his 168th birth anniversary. And I also uh, thank Dr. Mala Aditya for the co-organizer of this channel for organizing this program. And our next program will be next Sunday. It was tribute. It will be a discussion on transportation system in Bangladesh. So I invite you all to be present in the next program. Thank you. Shubharatri. Good night.
Thank you so much.